Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast, is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show. Welcome to another episode of Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. We are on to episode number 8. Oh man, this is going to be a fun one. I'm Tom Clark here today, joined, of course, as always, by Joe Higgens and Jay Luft, here with you to cover the show that was Ted Lasso. And man, is it fun, and we hope you've been enjoying the ride so far, because, brother, we have. I'm just saying. Guys, what do you think coming into episode 8 here, man? Episode 7 was huge. It was a landmark, or at least a linchpin, as Joe put it. Really excellent episode. What do you guys think coming into episode 8 here?
This is where it starts getting interesting, isn't it? Like, as I said in the last episode, like, it felt like they were on a pretty straight path, and then it's starting to take a few twists and turns, and they're turning a corner on certain things, and characters are starting to sort of like show the true colors and stuff like that. This is where we kind of get like into the consequences and the accountability that we were talking about in the last episode.
Yes.
Well done.
This is where Rebecca's fragile house of cards she's built around herself comes crashing down. And I can't help but feel sorry for her because she has grown since then. But also, it is the thing that happens before all of the end stuff happens is by her own design. Yeah. Like she has no one to blame but herself.
And this had to be episode 8, Joe. This couldn't have been episode 4. It has to take this long to build up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know.
In other words, we have to earn it. I'm glad that they didn't pull the trigger too soon.
No. Like I said, everything as the motto of the show should be, everything is there for a reason. And it's just when all those things domino fall one after the other, we end up with this episode. And for better or worse, it happens. Yeah. We get beautiful stuff, and then we get horrible stuff.
We do. It's a seesaw. This show's such a seesaw.
It's a veritable turd sandwich.
Yes. Oh my God. Everyone listening and watching has seen this episode, and if you haven't, trust us, you'll find out. You'll find out. Well, guys, if you're ready, we're going to jump into it. I'm anxious to do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this, kids. Of course, as we said, this is episode 8. We're still in season 1, as you know. This title is The Diamond Dogs. Isn't that fun? Oh, it's going to be a good one. The original air date for this episode was September 18th, 2020. Directed by Declan Lowney. Story by Leann Bowen. And again, as we said, season 1, there are 10 episodes. We are this close, baby, to the end of season 1. I couldn't be happier. Not that we're getting through it, but that we're getting through it, because it's happy. I enjoy this show so much. When last we left,
I want to finish the first season and then do a big debrief on the first season.
I think we should do that between like seasons. Do like an episode
I love that
where we
idea.
like talk about everything that's happened of the season so far.
Yeah,
I
and
love it.
What we're gonna.
We'll talk about it off air. It's fine.
See, we're doing this in real time because
no.
Yeah.
We don't have a plan.
It was just in my head. Then I was like, I've learned so much from doing this with you that I kind of want to go back and just touch on some other stuff that I wasn't aware of. Yeah.
I love it. We'll hit it. When last we left the Ted Lasso gang, we saw the team hit the road for a game in Liverpool, where Rebecca and Keeley bonded for a girls' weekend along with Rebecca's childhood friend Sassy. But though the team got the win after a challenging pep talk from Nate, Ted's struggles to move on from his marriage led to a panic attack, and Rebecca, despite trying to sabotage the club, was the one who helped Ted when he needed it the most. And that sets up perfectly episode 8. We see the team bus outside the hotel. Sam opens the storage door, and on the bottom, there's Nate. He's passed out. Beard, Zorro, and Danny come up smiling at him. Danny says he looks like a little angel man. Nate wakes up. Beard takes a picture, right? Nate wakes up and says he didn't want to miss the bus, so he slept in there. And he immediately gets up to run because he's going to be sick.
It's the Danny Rojas thing of, he could have just said angel, but angel man makes it just more Danny.
I love as well, like, Beard looks like a proud father, like a doting father. And he's got, like, his eyes are all lit up and he's, like, got this big grin on his face, like, there's our boy.
Yeah. And that comes back later with the text to Ted. If you read the text, you can see that they've been looking for Nate. Yeah. And then he texts him.
I didn't want to miss the bus.
Oh, that's great.
So I thought I'd just sleep here.
I'd just sleep there. Yeah. Jeez. Passed out in there. Rebecca's hotel room. We see next the waiter from episode 7 is there. You know, the impressively young, virile looking lad who we all wish we could look like. Shut up. You do. He's asleep in her bed. She's getting her stuff together for the walk of shame and she's tiptoeing.
Again, this is a really good,
great
side joke.
It is.
Like, she's creeping out and she just goes, "What the fuck am I doing? Get out my room."
I really like the juxtaposition between Rebecca and Ted in this.
Yes.
So, like, Rebecca's obviously, like, doing the walk shame. And I'm like, wait, it's my room. Get the fuck out. And it goes to Ted, and he's sat
watching Sassy sleep.
Yes, like he's at like a parents' evening though, like he's got all his belongings on his knee, and he's like sat upright like that, like he's waiting for like.
I brought you a coffee.
Yeah, Rebecca's one night stand. Her hair is destroyed. She's carrying clothes. She's all disheveled. Ted's hair is perfect. He's well groomed. He's manicured. He's sitting.
Ted's been up for an hour,
3 hours,
2.
Yeah,
maybe 2 or 3. Yeah. Oh, it's great. Yeah, like you said, he's watching her. Beard sends him a text, as we said. There's a pic of Nate and the message of Hangover City. So Sassy wakes up, and of course, like we said, he's got a coffee waiting on her. She says, "Last night was fun." He goes, "Yeah, certified fresh, 5 stars," which is good. He has to go, but he got her a late checkout. She says, "Well, I'm going to go back to sleep. Then what? And then later, I'm going to order a huge breakfast on your tab." He said, "That's pro move right there," which is great.
He says, "I'll be your Underhill."
I don't know what that is. What is that?
It's from Fletch.
Interesting.
The film Fletch.
Yeah.
Fletch signs all the room service off to the Underhills.
Oh, that's so good.
Again, only just a little weird thing because I've watched Fletch a lot because I used to quite like Chevy Chase before he turned out to be a massive whammer. But yeah, it's just, again, just one of those little fun Ted jokes. Like, but it is the thing of like when Ted's like, "Yeah, 5 stars, certified fresh." He kind of, I don't know, you feel like Ted feels shame about it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Well, it's like when he's talking to Beard later about it, and it's.
Well, I mean, we can literally cut to that because that's the next scene, isn't it?
Well, them getting off the bus and then him having the kind of like, "we need to talk now" sort of thing. But it's almost like because the divorce is so fresh, it's almost like he hasn't quite like processed the fact that he's no longer with Michelle. So he's not done anything wrong, but in his head he thinks he's done something severely wrong. He thinks he's been unfaithful to his wife, but realistically he's not because he's divorced.
I mean, he signed the papers. The divorce isn't technically gone through yet. It takes weeks and months for that to go through. But yes, yeah, I know what you mean.
But also the ink was barely dry on the paper when she came in.
That was the thing. He signed it, and then as soon as like he put that pen down, left-handed, there was the knock on the door, and it doesn't absolve you from Ted's. It doesn't absolve Ted from his guilt, but she 3 messages in a day about signing the papers.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And the 3rd message, she had the attorney do it. That. And listen, that was the point. It was like, "Oh, I hate this girl. I hate her." But then, of course, a few episodes back when she essentially breaks his heart without really wanting to, you see that she's in pain. So, like, I'm trying to remember that, Michelle, that she was in pain.
It's to draw a line under it so I can start afresh.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's symbolic more than anything.
As the bus pulls in, Nate runs off just to vomit.
Yeah.
As well.
For the next 20 minutes, that's the thing.
But we get the Ted Beard conversation.
So good.
And it again, it's the shared brain thing of Ted going, I don't want the knowing looks. I'm going to tell you something. I don't want knowing looks. I don't want you to ever mention this. I don't want you to joke about it ever. Last night I slept with Sassy, and Beard just goes, do you want to talk about it? And Ted goes, yes.
Yes, immediately.
Like, immediately. Like, it's Ted trying to just, like, defend himself, but it's Beard. Like, Beard knows him.
Of course.
Inside and out, upside and down. Like, it's...
Again, it plays into the thing because Beard just isn't surprised. Like,
Beard knows.
Did Beard tell her the room number?
It's like in the last episode.
What was in the last one? Maybe
we were guessing.
Beard,
yeah. It was either Beard or it was Rebecca.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think because Beard knows about the divorce, but he didn't know about the panic attack. Only Rebecca knows about the panic attack, and I don't think Rebecca would be remiss enough to send Sassy into someone who's just had. So I think it probably was Beard.
I think with the knowledge that Rebecca had that Ted had a panic attack, the last thing he needs is someone coming into his room and then like getting up all in his business when he's probably like got all that shit going on in his head. Whereas
so Rebecca told Sassy, and then Beard told Sassy the room number.
Oh, could be that. Well, the only
possibly
two people
just went...
who we knows Ted's room number are Nate and Beard.
And Nate is leathered.
So Nate could have just let slip.
I think we're focusing on something that doesn't require much information.
But again, no ways to move it in this show.
The fact that we're focusing on it though means that it's obviously like piqued some interest.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, it is. I still think it's Beard.
I think it's Beard because Beard's views on marriage as well. Like he doesn't give a shit. He just thinks, oh yeah,
shag under your belt, you'll feel better. Yeah,
that's it.
Well, we'll reach consensus on that, at least for the time being. Keeley finds Roy in the trainer's room getting worked on by Gail, played by Jasmine Raymond. This is her first and only appearance, which is interesting. So Keeley, this is great. And again, as we said in episode 7, kids, continuity. Okay.
Yeah.
Keeley says, I thought this room was haunted. He goes, no, we sorted that. So good. So good. She asks if this is a good time. He tells her that his physiotherapist is in the room with him. She can't hear anything with her earbuds in.
You think the royal family are lizards, don't you?
Yeah, she doesn't respond to this.
What is she listening to?
Murder
True Crime Podcast.
Yeah, Murder Podcast. It's great. Keeley says last night was crazy. She needs a bucket of coffee to nurse the hangover. Keeley is fishing.
Yeah.
She's fishing.
Toes. Yeah.
She's being very careful, and she's tiptoeing around it. Says, you want to go get one with me? And you notice the camera never leaves her the whole time?
Because she genuinely feels she's got something there with Roy.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where, the camera doesn't leave us. Like, she sort of stands and waits. And he's like, no, I've got stuff on.
Yeah.
I'm busy. And she goes, oh, okay.
And Gail says he's lying.
Yeah, he's lying. Like, so young.
It's the fact as well, though, where Roy's like, I am going to need you to leave now, though, because she's about to hurt my hamstrings. I don't like anyone hearing the noises that I make. And you just, for a brief second, hear him go, oh.
He just goes, oh.
Oh, it's great.
But yeah, it's so like Keeley at this point thinks like Roy's led her on or something. I don't know. But also what we know about Keeley is that she's only dated footballers.
And she's only dated immature footballers. Whereas
immature footballers.
the important part is Roy is trying to be more grown up about it.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know that at this point, but yeah. But he is quite flippant. He's just like, now I'm busy. And does sort of give her the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
Without meaning to, maybe. Yeah.
It's Roy. He is heart on his sleeve. Like, there's no games, is there, with Roy?
No, not at all.
He is just, that's
Right to
it.
the point.
Like,
yeah. Ted's in the office with Beard. Nate's got a bucket. And Higgins.
Higgins is wearing a weird T-shirt. I didn't figure out what it was.
Dr. John.
Oh, is it?
Nice.
Who I believe, isn't he like a jazz singer or something?
Yeah, pianist.
I'm going to assume so, yeah.
God, he's been around forever. Yeah. Hey, Tom Clark here for Tom Clark's Main Event. And if you are not subscribed, you're doing life wrong. Going strong since 2014 with over 300 episodes and a variety of guests that include Randy Orton, The Big Show, Rob Van Dam, and a lot more. Check us out on all the major platforms, including YouTube at Boink Studios. Subscribe today, Tom Clark's Main Event. Once you hear Dr. John, you'll never forget that voice. He's got a very recognizable voice.
Yeah.
He says having a one-night stand is not something he's ever done before, but he also doesn't judge. Some people are nuts for butts, and they can have at it.
Nuts for butts.
I don't know if I've ever heard that in my life. Trust me.
I just like it. I'm going to use that more.
It's great. Beard says, "Did you have fun?" And Ted doesn't want to say. And then Beard taps the table and goes, "Did you have fun?"
Fun.
That's all he cares about. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, Ned says, "Well, did she have fun?" And then Ted, very classy, just kind of roundabout gives him a nod. And then he says, "Your head movement's making me queasy."
Yeah. But Ted also says, like, I don't like these kiss and tell style things as well. So, like, Ted's quite chivalrous in his own weird, confused way.
It's true.
Yeah. It's like he needs to talk to the guys about the fact that it's happened because he's not sure how to react to it. But at the same time, he doesn't want to give them the gory details. He's just kind of like, I just need some advice of like what I need to do now.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Higgins asks, "What's the problem?" Ted says he just hasn't made peace with the fact that he went from having a mental breakdown in a karaoke joint in Liverpool to sleeping with a woman he just met and somewhere in between getting a divorce. Beard says, "It makes sense to me," which is great. Nate says, "This is lovely. Ever since I was little, I would dream about sitting down with a bunch of mates talking about the complex dynamics between men and women." Which is...
They all just sort of look at him and go,
yeah. Like, because Nate's never really had friends before.
This is what we're doing. Yeah, we're doing friends. Yeah.
Well said. Ted asks if he should tell Rebecca, and they all say no. Like, they immediately say no. He says, "Why not? It would break my heart if I found out she was hiding something from me."
Higgins does his great.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, again, tying back to other episodes.
So one thing as well that we've kind of skimmed over with this was when they're first talking, Roy comes in and goes, "Are you guys having a meeting?" And like Ted's like, "Oh, we're talking about women." He goes, "No," and just walks off.
No,
but it
just walks off.
It sets the scene for something later.
But so many times later.
It also like sets the scene for like that final scene in the last episode, and it's just it's brilliant.
It's the formation of the Diamond Dogs is this scene,
it is.
Which is a big running theme throughout this thing of just like men can talk to other men about relationship issues and stuff without it being weird or quote unquote gay or anything like that. Like everyone goes through the same things, like, and there's no shame in it. And this is like a really good, powerful example of just men helping out other men.
Yeah,
it's true.
It is a really, really great thing. But is it the well, I think Beard goes, "Well, you need to buy yourself some scissors," and Ted goes, "Huh?" And Nate from his sick bin just goes, "To cut yourself some slack," and Ted just goes, "Wow, you really stuck the landing on that." And I was like, that's how good this is. They're already in the same mindset of like no judgment. You're just there to give your advice from your your life perspective, and it's a really beautiful thing. It really is.
What's great is they're trying to come up with a name for their group, the EQ Warriors, Knights of Support.
Sounds like an athletic supporter. Higgins goes the Proud Boy,
and when he says it,
immediately be sick.
Yes, Nate pukes,
Like,
and no one says it.
Yeah, don't Google that.
No.
After he's done a sick, then goes, what about the Diamond Dogs?
In the bin. What about the Darth Vader? What about the Diamond Dogs? It's and he goes, that's it. And like Ted's already changing it in his phone.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, and they all start. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So Keeley's at home and is texting Roy, but he's not answering. Who at some point in their conversation had sent him an emoji of himself.
Did you notice what Roy's last text was just him swearing?
Of course.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
And yeah, like she's drunk, she's alone, and she's feeling like, okay, we shared a moment, we had a kiss. My breath didn't stink. Even after those Scotch eggs I got from the all night garage. Like what's wrong with me? Maybe he's just not interested. And then there's the knock at the door, and it's Jamie. And this is like one of those weird turning points for Jamie.
Yeah.
Because he comes in and he's kind of like, she's like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, we were playing
West
Ham. And so I thought I'd pop round and stuff. And so, how did you do? And he's like, oh,
I got a couple of dribbles, took a free kick, scored a goal.
Gave me half a chub.
Yeah.
And she's, oh, so that's why you've come round, is it? And he's like, no. Like, Jamie shows a little bit of maturity at this point.
So I think it's because obviously Jamie was finally part of the team, and then he's left where he's starting to like build friendships and relationships with people. He's left to go back to his old club where he knows literally like they're all just acquaintances.
But he's going to be the small fish in that big pond as well, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's it as well, where he's like, oh, yeah. Because he, instead of going, oh, yeah, I did this, I did that, he goes, manager, let me do this. And it shows, like, how good he had it at Richmond. Because he was...
Very true.
He was the big fish in a small pond, as opposed to now being a minnow in an ocean.
Doesn't Keeley say, though, she's like, before you went back to Manchester City, and he goes, no, before Ted sent me back. And she goes, no.
He doesn't call him Ted, he calls him Lasso.
He does.
He calls him Lasso, actually. Like the rope.
He refuses to call him Ted, which is very telling, because it shows that Jamie's hurt by that.
He's bitter, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, Ted could have fight for me. Bearing in mind, like, Jamie's dad, like, left him at, like, a young age. Like, he's got those abandonment issues. Ted's, like, been, like, a father figure to him in, like, the last couple of, like, episodes. And, yeah, he made a breakthrough and then lost them. And even, like, when...
Rebecca.
Yeah. Even in the last episode, when Ted's, like, it broke my heart to see him go. Like, you could see Ted had, like, a really good relationship formed with Jamie. And you can see...
It got through to him.
Yeah, he did.
And you can see that it's obviously upset Jamie just as much as it has upset Ted.
But both of them are too proud to just reach out and go, what happened? Yeah.
And plus, to Ted's credit, let's be honest here, Ted didn't even know how relegation works. So Ted may have not understood that he could have reached out or that she could have stopped it. He just thought, well, he has to go back because that's how it works here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to repossess his house? Yeah.
Yeah. What a great line. I love that line. Phil Dunster, by the way, that plays Jamie, deserves all the props.
He's great.
He is the Kota Ibushi of football, isn't he? Just a fucking gorgeous himbo. Yeah.
He's so good.
But yeah, he's like, she's like, oh, do you want to stay and have a drink?
He goes, and he's like, nah. He was just going to leave.
He was like, I'm going to leave. And then he gets halfway through the door, and then his arm creeps back round, and he goes like, "Wait, do you mean have a drink?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he comes in, closes the door, and goes, "That's how you get sex."
By not trying.
By not trying. And it's just like, oh my God, Jamie, you're 23 and you haven't figured this out yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't the first time I watched the show, I wasn't entirely happy with her for this, because I thought, I love her and Roy together, and I'm not pro Jamie at all. But like watching it back now, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, well, she at the end of the day, she likes Roy. Roy likes her. Roy's being very distant with her, and she's like, well, what the hell have I got to do to get through to this guy?
Right.
And also, she's all drunk, and
she's
yeah, we've all been there. We've all done things we're not proud of. But it was also the line about the emojis, so like the aubergine and like the squirty water and the squirrel.
Well, he's holding a little nut, isn't he? I love that bit. Yeah. Oh my God. He's so funny, the guy. He's so funny, man.
He's got great comic timing, to be fair.
So good.
And yeah, she leads him upstairs, and
there you go. Things happen. Relations. I'm just saying. Ted heads into Rebecca's office with the biscuits and a little box of chocolate truffles. She thoroughly enjoys this. She says, "You fucker, don't do this to me," which is great. He tells her to take one of the. He goes, "Well, just take one of the truffles and smush between two biscuits like it's." Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, you've already done it. You've done this before. It's not her first rodeo.
Oh, she loves them. He thanks her again for being there for him in Liverpool. She says it was nothing, but he disagrees. He says, "You got a coupon for life, little lady. I've got your back." Again, turning the screw when he doesn't know he is, because she's intentionally trying to sabotage his efforts with that team, and he doesn't know it.
But it's just like, it shows Ted's like unwavering loyalty to people, though, like, especially with Beard and stuff. Like this with Rebecca, like, she didn't go and tell him, "Oh, Ted had a freak out," the big mentalist. She didn't tell anyone. She kept it to herself, and like, that means a lot to Ted. And Ted's like, "I will be your hypothetical Saint Bernard." Yeah. You don't have to get into a hypothetical avalanche to have my hypothetical bourbon. And he's just like, again, Ted gets lost in his own hyperbole at this point, doesn't he?
He does. And then just after this is when she asks him to join her, the minority club owners, the Milk Sisters, who he says, "Well, how much of the club do they own?" And she says 2.9. He said, "I'm going to round it down to 2. So I can call them the 2% milk."
2% milk.
So good. And she goes, "Oh God, they're going to adore you."
They suffer the crime of being criminally dull and never shutting up.
So she thinks they'll love him. Can I just say, I really wanted to meet the Milk Sisters. I'm upset that we didn't get to.
I know. I was hoping it was going to be like Miriam Margolyes and Jennifer Saunders or something. Like,
I picture two little old ladies.
What? Yeah. It's just like
French and Saunders would have been a good one, or or even Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley. Just a little ab-fab reunion.
Oh, Lumley's a shout.
Lumley would be great. She would have been good for it.
Lumley with like big old Mrs. Havisham style
like blue hair in like a beehive.
Yeah, fantasy casting. Anyway, that's for another podcast. But yeah, we never meet him, sadly. No. But this is the first of Ted's many, many milk puns in this episode. And all of them better than the last one.
Each one lands extremely well. They all get better, actually.
He's come prepared.
Yes. We go to Keeley in the press room with Colin, Sam, and Isaac. She's found that endorsements always work better when players believe in the product. She wants to know what they're into. Colin says Air Jordans. He said, I'd fuck a pair of Jordans, which is such an odd line. She says, okay, athletic wear. Sam's into issue-oriented products like pro-environment, anti-pollution, and also Air Jordans, which is another great line.
It's the way Sam goes, but I wouldn't sleep with them.
Right.
But that Sam bit there.
Yeah.
Was that Sam? Yeah, that's Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam. That Sam bit there comes back later on massively.
It does.
And it's one of those really good bits. that makes me very happy. And then he cut to Isaac, and he just goes, Rolos.
She's so
so confectionery, like chocolates, sweets. No,
just Rolos.
Just Rolos.
Yeah.
None of that Sour Patch shit either. Tom, do you know what Rolos are?
Oh yeah, a little chocolate with caramel in them.
Yeah, they have them in the
Good, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought they might be called something weird, like Chuzwazzers.
I'm pretty sure they still make the candy too. I think.
Yeah.
I went to someone's grand's house the other day to move some furniture for her, and she had like rolled them on the side. And I was like, I've not seen Rolos in ages. And she was like, "Oh, take them." I'm not taking your Rolos. Like, I just didn't know they still made them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see them.
I don't know if they still do them, but you used to be able to get like the mini ones as well. It's like just a big, like like the mini M&Ms, like that size.
Yeah, but how much caramel's going to be in that? Should be mostly.
There was loads of them, so it was all right. Because you just have like a hand.
You got to throw handfuls in, and you're a giant.
Yeah. I grew up eating Rolos. Do you love films that have the same plot over and over and over and over again with only slightly different looking people in the main roles, but just don't have time to watch them all? You do? Then simply listen to Hallmark of Greatness, the only podcast that takes you through such masterpieces as Love at Sea, Love at Christmas, and A Volcano Sacrifice for Love. See a pattern here? Available wherever you get podcasts from, and also find us on social media by looking for Hallmark of Greatness. I also grew up with Chunky. Do you have Chunky over there?
No.
Oh, I don't.
It's like a square chocolate bar in 4 squares in a silver wrapper called Chunky. And it's got like, I think, peanuts and raisins in it.
That sounds like a Yorkie.
Really?
In a square 4 bar. That's...
It's like that. It's not very big. The line from Throw 'Em On from the Train, when Billy Crystal stands up and Danny DeVito says, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to kill the bitch." He says, "You want anything?" And Danny DeVito goes, "You can bring me a Chunky." That's what he's talking about as a candy bar. Yeah.
We may have to do a candy swap at some point.
I think that sounds like a fruit and nut Yorkie.
Could be.
Yorkie chocolate is nasty.
Yeah, Yorkie's a shit, but
Nestle chocolate, mate.
I'm saying.
Anyway.
Yes, Roy comes in and the guys leave. So she tells Roy that Rebecca's letting her use the room until she can get an actual office.
I've got this box here, so I can just move it all out. Like anytime. Oh.
She's so precious, man.
She's just adorable.
She is. Roy invites her to a movie like nothing happened, and she's not happy. She says, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
The venom.
Yes.
She spits at Roy.
Guys, if you can get a coffee.
You might want to go to a film.
Yeah, I want to get a coffee with you yesterday, and you said you were busy. He goes, "I was busy."
And
she says, "You never text me back." He goes, "Yeah, I was busy." Like he's fine. He's fine. You know what I mean?
He does not see what he's done wrong.
Nothing.
The thing is, he's not really done anything wrong.
That's fair.
No, I know, but like,
he said he was busy. He was busy. To be fair, she's used to having Jamie, who had just cheated on her as well. She's got major trust issues.
Yep.
Which she kind of outlines as well immediately.
Just the generic use of "I was busy" is a multitude of sins, isn't it? Yeah,
that's the truth. Yeah, like you said, trust issues. Yeah. Well said.
And then, like she asks why, and then he's like, "Look, I really like you. I want to take it slow because in the past when stuff like that's happened, I've had my watch stolen or I've had people talk about that I've got a care
bending my dick.
Yeah, I'm bending my dick.
Have you? No, I just used my hips."
Yeah, and then like she wants to stay on that because and he just keeps going talking like it never happened.
We get a really great breakdown though of the fact that they are just people who have had one night stands forever.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it feels great at the time. Yeah, it does. But then also like it feels shit afterwards.
Yeah.
And Roy's like, "I didn't want that to happen with you."
Yeah. He also as well, like, because Keeley starts getting sidetracked. He says sort of like, "We're not here to brag about how many people we've had one night stands."
Oh, yeah. It's a weird thing to brag about, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously Keeley brings up the fact that she slept with Jamie and Roy can't speak.
He literally says to her, "I've been 100% honest with you." And she goes, "Okay, well, all cards on the table."
Yeah.
I slept with Jamie. And he goes, yeah, I fucking know about that. He says, no, like last night.
Yeah.
And then she says,
and he's like,
did it because she was angry at Roy.
Why are you angry at me for something I didn't even do? Is one of the best lines, because I've done that so many times. Mostly things that happen in dreams with my wife, to be honest.
well, yeah, why are you slept him to get back to me for something I didn't know I did? She says, no. And then she goes, well, yes.
Why I have that tattoo there on my wrist is because my wife gets so angry at things that happen to me in her dreams. Yeah.
What's the tattoo?
I'll send you the thing, right? It's from a little comic strip.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going to do a Diamond Dog session for Joe, I think.
No, my relationship's fine-ish.
Yeah. it is crazy with Roy that he's trying to like be responsible, but in his own way, and he's punished for it.
Yeah.
It's Roy trying to do like what he thinks is the right thing, but because he's never had a proper relationship ever, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, so throughout the whole series, though, it's like a reoccurring thing with Roy where he's trying to be a better person and he's trying to do the right thing, and by doing that in his own kind of way, he gets punished for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best bit here is when he's going, right? And she says, you want to just come back and talk to me once you figure out how to speak again?
Speak again. And as he walks out, he's just going,
yeah. Oh, because I'm with him at this point. At this during my first watch of the show, I'm with him because Jamie's crap. I mean, the scene at the door with her starts to change my mind a little bit, but like, at the same time, I'm thinking he had his chance. He had a chance. He had his shot.
She let him in because she was feeling vulnerable.
Very true.
That's all it is. It's fine.
Very true.
But yeah, it's just that.
Yeah.
But like, Keeley has such an angle on him that she knows. Just go away, calm down, think about it, come back to me when you can talk.
It's true, and it works.
Yeah, I was going to say this goes straight to him in Ted's office, doesn't it?
Yeah. Goes straight to Ted's office. He's upset. He grunts at Ted, and Ted's trying to guess what's wrong. He goes, you're buying your first house. He says, are you worried that your dad's a little racist? And he says, stop.
Of course not. My dad's fucking racist. He's 60 odd and he lives in South London. Of course he's a little racist.
Oh, it's great. Is that a thing? I suppose that's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but also probably with Roy's upbringing, yes.
Yeah.
So
most people in London are pretty cool. Like most people in Britain are pretty cool. It's just a small minority of vocal people who are C-words.
Well, I mean, I'm in the South in the U.S. and everywhere in the South, pal, but evidently South London as well. So there you go. It's a Southern thing, is what I'm saying.
London is the entire country of Britain is made up of immigrants. We're a migrant country. Anyone claiming that this isn't British values, what are British values? I don't even know what British values are. Starving children at schools, me having to pay £190 a month for my energy bills.
This all sounds very familiar, actually.
Yeah, so maybe if that's British values, I want no part of it.
Yeah.
Political rant over, move on.
Yes. We'll be here all day. So
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells Ted about him and Keeley and how he can't stop thinking about Jamie Tart. By the way, Ted loves this, that Roy has come in there. His expression, he's lit up. He's excited.
As soon as Roy's like unleashes on him, he's like, I've got him. Like,
yep. He says, sounds like you're trapped in life's most complicated shape, a love triangle. Second place, I just walked in on my mother-in-law changing to a swimsuit dodecahedron, which is a great line.
Also, triangles, though.
Yeah, triangles.
Shut up.
Triangles. Yeah, mate. It's all there.
I was so anxious to nail that dodecahedron line, I skipped past
I know, and I didn't want to step on it.
Well done.
You've got to admit that triangles.
I love the fact that Roy said, does my face look like I'm in any mood for shape-based
I'm here for shape-based jokes.
Ted says, it does not. But in my defense, it rarely does. Yeah. Another great line.
Oh, excellent.
He says, don't fret, my fine furry fella. And he gets out his phone and summons the Diamond Dogs. He goes, it's just a group of people who care. Not like folks at a hip-hop concert whose hands are not in the air.
Not in the air. Again, it's a shit joke, but
it is.
Because it's Ted. It's so good.
I love the fact as well with this, though, like when they're all talking, Ted doesn't outright give Roy advice. With Roy, he always makes Roy figure it out himself. Yeah. Like making Roy stand up for Nate, making Roy be a leader. And even here where he's like, oh yeah, well, why don't you just do this? And he's like, you're being sarcastic, aren't you?
That was good.
It's only when Roy realizes, all right, yeah, I'm a grown man, not a child.
It's like he baits the hook. Like, I'll bait the hook, but you have to be the one to go fishing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fish for you. You have to bait the hook yourself. Or I'll bait the hook for you, but
you've got to realize that it's your problem as well. Like, you are part of that problem.
Yeah.
I can tell you how to fix this, but or I can give you the instructions on how to fix it. Which one do you want?
I love when Nate, Beard, and Higgins, they all come in like they're men on a mission. It was like Avengers Assemble. Yeah. They all, one by one.
It's really good. There should be like a super cut of those and just like...
I love the fact that Roy is like about to leave and then like Nate goes, oh, Keeley, she's always really nice to me.
When he sees them all come in, Roy says, this is my fucking nightmare. Like, he's not happy at all.
But he stays because he cares.
Yeah, he stays because he knows. Yeah. It's great because Ted says the idea of Roy and Keeley is like cookies and cream. Two great tastes. It tastes great together. And Beard calls it a perfect analogy. And then Roy starts to explain that he's into her, but they all know who her ex is, the prince prick of all pricks. Higgins says, I don't understand the problem. And Nate agrees. Like you said, Joe, she's so kind, and to be loved by someone like her must be wonderful. And Ted recognizes the reference and says, shout out to the Gershwin brothers right there. To which Roy responds with, yeah, fuck the Gershwins. I know the name, I know the reference here, but I'm not a musical guy. So when they go into musicals, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
I think Wonderful is from, I don't know. I'm not even going to put my hat on the line there with that. I recognize it. I recognize the joke, but I could not tell you. I think it's from... No, I'm not even... I think it's from Oklahoma?
Oh,
but I'm not sure.
They have referenced Oklahoma a lot already.
They have.
In the series, so it would make sense.
Again, I'm not nailing my hat to that post. Just for the fear of repercussions from theatre nerds. They won't set off fireworks outside your house. They'll just tap dance outside your house.
Yeah, so that's good. As we said, Ted's trying to play mind games with Roy, but it's very obvious with the sarcasm. And Nate points it out. You know, he loves it when Coach does sarcasm. Ted remarks that Roy's basically slept around, and so is Keeley, but that's not okay. And Roy says he can't control his feelings, and Ted says, well, then by all means, you should let them control you. And they all, oh, I see what you're doing, that kind of thing. And then he has to bring along a friend's character. He says, look, all this Chandler binging aside, do me a favor. Don't let her past muck around with y'all's future. And then Roy drops the bomb that she slept with Jamie last night, but they all take a beat before they answer. Like most dudes, can we be honest with you, go, she did what? But they didn't. Like, they took a beat, right? And it's like, are you two officially dating? No. Have you already slept together? No. Ted looks at Beard and says, you want to bring this home, Coach? And he says, grow up, get over it. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ted declares that the Diamond Dogs have struck again, and they all start barking. Roy says, you're all pricks.
He should have gone straight to the Diamond Dogs.
Yeah. I mean, you get your problem solved.
Yeah.
Because you've got 4 very different views on life from the Diamond Dogs, which is what makes it work so very well. Yeah.
Ted and Rebecca are in the Crown and Anchor. Ted asks where the Milk Sisters are. We're going to have fun with this.
Do it all. Go on.
And if she wants him to go skin the back room, she says, Ted, don't make me regret this. He says, don't worry. I'll be an utter gentleman.
Yes.
He says, I wonder if they've ever seen the movie Bridget Jones's Dairy.
Yes.
And then she goes, Ted. And he goes, sorry, that's not my breast milk pun. I apologize. Yes. I could do better. It's all fun and games, gentlemen, until enter the villain, Rupert. Immediate buzzkill brings the whole scene down because he's a piece of crap.
Rupert the scum.
Oh, mate. It's not only that, it's the fact that he's brought new Rebecca with him.
And he introduces her.
Yeah.
Rebecca, this is Beck.
And he's such a like massive bag of shit with it as well, though. Like he's like we've met him before, like and at the ballroom at the fundraiser. Sorry, he was slimy but kind of charming. He's
so slimy.
He's just like Slugsworth. It's
And Rebecca is visibly shaken. She did not expect to see him there.
She literally goes, "We can just leave." And Ted's like, "No."
Well, she says, doesn't she? Oh, we're here to see the Milk Sisters. And he's like, oh, well, they won't be coming.
He has bought the shares. They're 2.9% shares.
Well, his future wife has, and they're celebrating.
He's bought them for her.
Them being engaged.
She says, "Oh, I thought I'd pay off my student loans before I owned part of a football club or something." And he's just sitting there with like this big shit-eating grin on his face. Like, he's won. Like, oh, I beat you at your own game. I know what you're doing. You're trying to run this club in the ground. And I'm here to stop that. And I've done it in the most hurtful way I can do. By bringing in someone younger than you with your name. And also, we're engaged.
Double whammy in one shot.
It's just like, mate, let it go.
The key thing there that you just said is that he's exposed, Rebecca for what she's doing. And everyone can see it except Ted.
Everyone about Ted, because Ted is such a good guy. He's just like, this guy's an arsehole.
Yeah, Ted doesn't like Rupert because Rupert's a piece of shit. But because Rupert is hurting Rebecca, he doesn't see that Rebecca is using Ted as a pawn to destroy the club.
Yep.
And even when Rupert literally spells it out for him, he still doesn't see it.
We gave this line off mic, Joe, but we can't leave it out. Hey, what is up? Tom Clark here for Tom Clark's 6M Podcast, where we focus on movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. It's a complete geek culture / pop culture podcast. Brand new episodes drop every Tuesday. The show is available for subscription right now today on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Stitcher, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Just subscribe and you'll be all set. Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. When Rupert says the Milk Sisters won't be coming, Ted says, "Oh no, did they expire?"
They expire?
And he gives Rebecca that look like, that was a good one.
It is a good one.
That was a good one.
And then Rupert does like
he buys around
for everyone.
Yeah, that'll come back too.
And the three lads are like, "May, we want the boots."
Mm-hmm.
Well, interestingly, the three lads say something to Ted, don't they? And he calls them all by their names.
Yeah.
And again, they go, "Oh, Coach Lasso remembered our names," and it's the first sort of like cog moving with them, where it's like, as much as they're trying the hardest to dislike him, it's like, well, he remembers us, and we're just like, they're literally like portrayed as forgettable, like nobodies. They're like Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
That's coming in the scene after next, but you're right, Jay. Bass has a problem with it because he never wants to be complimentary. But this time, instead of Paul saying it was, well, Paul said it first that, Ted knows their names, and Jeremy agreed, and then Baz is pissed off at them for saying something.
But then later on as well, he says something to Ted, and then he immediately apologizes to Ted for saying it.
Yeah, he does.
Like,
no
he
offense.
says,
he says no.
There's something negative about Ted.
It's when they're talking about like, if you're in charge, maybe we'll do better because Ted, this wanker can't do it. No offense.
Yeah.
And Ted's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Like, it's all water for ducks back."
Yeah, he's fine. You can't. The reason he's so infuriating to people,
because you can't fluster him.
You can't affect him. Like, Psychology 101, if you want to win the argument, you don't go to their level. When they hurl insults and if they're up here with their emotions, you stay down here, you win every time because it disarms them. It forces them to calm down. And if you don't play the game of F you and F you back and forth, you're okay. It's an art form for him, dude.
This whole like section in the pub is one of those things that I really like, but also one of those things that I have issue with in terms of Ted Lasso. Just like superpower nonsense.
Although you say that, but by the end he does explain it perfectly.
Oh, I know. But it
give it a pass for me.
Come on, I've seen professional darts players not be able to check out on that. Like,
oh yeah,
it's
well, that scene's fantastic because he hustles Rupert. He hustles him. Oh, I got thoughts on that. Yeah, because for the first time I had a thought about Ted that I had never had before.
Is that where we're up to?
Just about.
No.
We go back to the press room because Keeley's with Danny.
Yeah.
Danny, sorry. Again, one of my favourite scenes ever. Danny, so what are you interested in? Joy. I don't know how I can market that.
I'll get you paid for that.
I'd like to give joy to people. It's like, he's just a Danny. He's just a fucking Labrador, isn't he?
He is
just a human Labrador.
Yeah.
Like, just, huh? Yeah. And it's just, again, it doesn't do anything for either of the characters apart from set Danny Rojas up to be like Danny Rojas.
Yeah.
It's true.
And Keeley just go, I've got to work with these people.
Yeah. It's up to her.
It's the fact though as well when like Roy walks in and he's like, El Capitan, football is life.
He's so happy. And he's still singing as he walks off.
Yeah.
He walks off singing a song of his own making, I think.
Oh, to be as happy as Danny Rojas. I'm just saying.
Mate, there ain't enough drugs in the world.
Yeah. What's good is that Roy tells Keeley, he says, I'm not mad about Jamie anymore. I'm a grown man, not a baby child.
Yeah.
Baby child.
So good.
I really like this scene. I think it's great.
I do too. She's so cute when she bounces around the room from one seat to the next.
It's the fact as well that she clears a desk into her box.
I missed that bit. You're right.
And she moves it off to like the side. And then she like, again, foreshadowing, she makes Roy sit in the hot seat, which Roy hates.
It's a press conference, yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. It's cute.
Yeah, we get Keeley Jones from, what is it? The
Independent Woman.
Independent Woman, Independent Woman Online Edition, and Independent Woman Magazine.
And the Sunday Supplement.
Yeah.
And like, it's just this great thing of them both realizing that they've done shit wrong. Like,
yeah.
But them both realizing that like, this is worth another pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, and Keeley is just adorable in this because she's just, she just runs around like a little knobhead. And like you can tell Roy's getting annoyed at having to put up with this.
But he's just indulging it because he likes her.
He indulges it because he wants to take her out for food. Like,
it's true.
It's a beautiful thing. And again, it's just a little dumb scene, but sets the precedent for their relationship going forward.
Yeah, because she asked him to elaborate on can you elaborate on the hip movement that makes your penis feel like it has curve in it? He says, no more questions. I'll see you on the pitch.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So good.
We did go back to the pub here. We're not quite to the end of the game or even the beginning. Rupert is grandstanding, saying the club's nightmare is over because he's back. Jesus, man. Are you kidding me with that nonsense? Then we have the bit with the three guys, the three fans. Bex is attempting to hit the dartboard, and that becomes a thing. And Ted actually asks Rebecca if she wants to leave, and she says, I don't want to give him the satisfaction.
Don't want to give him the satisfaction. And Ted goes, okay. And he goes, he starts talking to Rupert, and he's like, he picks up a dart, and he's like, oh, okay, so this is darts, is it? And he throws it, and he hits somewhere in like the lower part of the board. He's like, all right, this is fucking easy, to quote Snuffbox. And Rupert sees like, this is how Rupert fucking works, isn't it? He focuses on weaknesses and exploits them.
Yeah.
God.
Well, he thinks he's grifting Ted.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because Ted's just throwing him in.
Yeah.
Oh, this is how darts work. All right, that's fun.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, have you played darts before? And he's like, no, I'm more a fan of, what's the game you play?
Snooker.
It sounds like biscuits. And he goes, snooker? Yeah, I'd like to spend an evening under a weighted blanket near an open fire eating a big old box of Snookers.
Watching You Got Mail.
Yeah.
Watching You Got Mail.
This is bait and switch. This is my grand thought.
This is a classic Ted thing, but this is where it makes me think that Ted might have godlike powers.
This is Woody Harrelson and White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
You think I can't play basketball? I'm the goofy white dude. I'll show you. Yeah. I mean, he's hustling him.
By the end, he gives like the whole backstory of that. It's like it's really important because whenever he brings up his dad, you know it's an important thing, like a key thing that made Ted who Ted is. We've
got a ways to get there, but yeah, it is. And he's throwing him in. Actually, it's just this easy. And like you said, Rupert thinks he's onto an easy win here. And he says, why don't we play and we'll make a bet on it, like £10,000. And we get a Ted Lasso moment of, well, like when my doctor told me when I was addicted to, was it Pasta Alfredo?
Fettuccine Alfredo.
It's too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
He says, why don't we you can do the last 3 starting cards for the club, but if I win, you can't come into the owner's box. Because that was his whole point, wasn't it? He was going to be there every week to fucking demean Rebecca.
And he says as well, I'm going to point out how badly Ted and Rebecca are doing at the club. And I'm going to be brutally honest. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
He's a knobhead about it.
Piece of shit.
But this is the really good sort of Princess Bride sort of switch that we get with it, because Ted's like, oh, okay, then fair enough, and Rupert pulls out this set of absolute wanker darts, like someone that brings their own pool cue to the pub.
Never trust anyone who brings their own darts to the pub.
Yeah, because they're going to be an absolute shite orc about it.
Yeah.
And then Ted goes, oh, wait a minute, and it is basically the duel between Inigo Montoya and Wesley. He's like, oh, I forgot I throw left-handed. And just sinks it into the board. And I'm like, Christ, here we go.
He says, this is going to be a hoot.
But like Ted's just like, this is going to be fun.
Yes.
If we win or we lose, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing that Ted does.
But this is my big character moment for me. Was at this point, you know how we've said since episode 1, again, he's the real deal. He's not phony. They all think, well, this is a scam. No one's this good. No, he's not a white meat baby face. He's got to have an edge to him.
It's the speech that I have got written down here that Ted gives, because it is one of those things that
about people underestimating him. Yeah,
sticks with me as well.
Yeah,
but see, he knows going into this challenge that Rupert's already judged him. So he's going to use that to his advantage. It was the first time for me that I ever realized Ted is playing him intentionally because he knows he can. Not for mean-spiritedness, but because he knows it'll work. Like,
I think he goes over to Rebecca, and Rebecca goes, Ted, what are you doing? And he goes, I don't know. I believe it's called white knighting, but I'm not sure what this is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just following my gut. And she's like, no. He goes, it'll be okay. It'll be fine.
And we cut away at this point. Is this how we get
Roy and
Keeley's date?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're walking down the South Bank, it looks like, because I've been to London. And we find out what Roy was doing on those when he was busy.
Again, it's like Keeley's insecurity, isn't it? She's like...
But she knows how to press his buttons and how to get the answers she wants out of him. And it turns out Roy was doing yoga with a load of middle-aged, 50-year-old women.
Yeah. 60s.
60-year-old women.
Don't know.
They don't know who I am.
It's a great line.
I would have been home sooner, but Janice was going through a divorce. And so we ended up dancing in GAY until 3 a.m. And then we had crepes with some drag queens. And that's how I fucking like it. And it's
great
like,
story.
What?
He said, like I said, it's private.
Yes, but it's just that was the last thing I expected to come out of Roy's mouth at that point.
Yeah, it's the fact that like Keeley's so like taken aback by it as well, and she's like, I really want to kiss you, but I don't want to rush things because I know you don't want to rush things. And he just kisses her, and it's like,
Can I just touch your ass a bit?
That was great. Maybe you could touch mine, or I could touch yours a bit, and that's when he kisses her, and
then we get a paparazzi sneaking shots of him, and Roy, God bless him, stomps over
This
him.
is brilliant.
And he just literally goes, did no one say you have to ask permission to steal photos or whatever? I can't remember the line.
Don't you know it's rude not to ask permission before you take something? And then he goes, can I take this? And the guy goes, no. He goes, I don't give a shit. Yeah, Keeley, I've got pictures of our first date.
There's your pictures of first date. Come on, I'm making you tea. And it's...
Did you know on the first watch that was the same guy? Did you recognize him? I don't think I did either.
I did on the second time, having obviously known it was him anyway. But
yeah,
it was one of those things where it was kind of like, until the big reveal at the end of the episode, I'd genuinely forgotten it was this episode that happened. So I just thought it was, same stock guy who's the paparazzi, because, you know, they have like same stock journalists every time there's a press conference, stuff like that. I genuinely just kind of overlooked it. Like, I realised it was the same actor, but I didn't think more into it because I'd genuinely forgotten about the fact that we get that big reveal at the end of the episode.
Right, yeah. Well, we're back to the pub here, guys, and as we've been alluding to, this game is not going Rupert's way. It looks like, he's winning.
Oh, it is going Rupert's way.
But dude, it's never going Rupert's way. I think Ted had this in the bag from the moment he took the challenge. Join the Untitled Wrestling Podcast for all the latest pro wrestling news from around the world. Want to dive deeper? Interviews, fantasy booking, roundtable discussions, quizzes, video game streaming, watch-alongs, and a lot more can all be found on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. You can also find the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, and Twitter, Twitch, and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod. Follow, subscribe, and download today. And I think that Rupert winning had nothing to do with how good Rupert is. It's because Ted's letting him have it until the end. Yes, well, yes.
If you look at the scores, like I think it's Ted like having like kind of like outthinking Rupert, because I think Rupert thinks he's toying with Ted.
Yes,
because you look at Rupert's score and he's playing shit. Like when he's got everything under control, he is playing terribly. And he's only getting a couple of points each round. Could have put the game to bed at any time. But he thinks, I'm just going to fuck with him now because he's a prick.
Yeah.
Man, I should have actually checked what the actual... There is the chalkboard, isn't there?
I couldn't tell one score from the other, honestly.
Rupert had 26 points and Ted had like 160, I think it was. Maybe 100.
If they're playing 501,
no, 170 it was, because he had to get double top bullseye. So basically, Rupert had it in the bag, like from multiple rounds, and Ted was just letting him think that he was fucking with him.
He's talking trash to him, gloating, saying, "I'm going to put Sam back on defense where he belongs."
Rupert's got like an audience as well, so he's gloating it. He's like in his head, he's thriving in this environment.
Yeah, he's bought them all around the drinks. They're all his friends now.
Yeah.
Don't blame Rebecca. She's the one that brought the hillbilly here.
Man.
That's the one that fucking hurts me.
Oh, yeah. He says, I know she's always been a bit randy, but I never thought she would F over an entire team. Ted goes, hey. And then when he smiles and says, better manners when I'm holding the dart, please. It's great. It's like, that is Ted's way of saying, you can shut the fuck up now. Ted won't say that, but that's what that meant.
But he goes over to May and he goes, May, what do I need to win?
Yeah, like he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He knows.
He knows.
He's playing the dumb foreigner, which is a great thing to do.
Perfect. 2 triple 20s and a bullseye to win.
And then we get this Ted speech, which is Rupert, guys have underestimated me my entire life. And for years I never understood why. It used to really bother me. But then one day I was driving my little boy at school and I saw this quote by Walt Whitman painted on a wall, and it said, be curious, not judgmental. And I like that. And he just sinks this treble 20.
Oh, so good.
And like everyone's like,
Ooh.
Shit. And it's really nicely placed. It's left-hand side. It's really well placed to sink in 3 more behind it. And he goes, so I get in my car and I drive to work, and all of a sudden it hits me. All of those people that used to belittle me, not a single one of them were curious. They thought they had everything all figured out. So they judged everything, and they judged everyone. And I realized they underestimated me. Who was I? I had nothing to do with it. Because if they were curious, they would have asked questions, like, have you played a lot of darts, Ted? And then he sinks this other one. To which I would have answered, yes, sir. Every Sunday at a sports bar with my father, referencing his dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From age 10 till I was 16 when he died.
And then we see Rebecca.
And she goes, and then we just get Ted going, barbecue sauce.
Oh, so good.
And he just hits that ball. And then he turns to Rupert and goes, good game.
Good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I know it's a sitcom and, the good guys have to win. But, oh, God, this is so good.
So good.
Well, as I say, looking at the scoreboard, even down to the whole Rupert going, oh, look, I forgot I had these. And then Ted going, oh, I forgot I was left-handed. 170
is, one of the hardest checkouts you can hit as well.
But the fact that Ted's, literally been playing bad up until that point.
Oh, Ted has led himself up to checking out on a 170.
Or that.
Because hitting the ball is the best feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think Ted led him into the fact that he could finish. Ted grifted Rupert something chronic there. Yeah.
And when in American sports, gentlemen, when you embarrass your opponent, you always say, hey, good game. Because it's nothing but salt in the wounds. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But also, it's just the fact that Rupert, he can't even be gracious in defeat.
No.
He doesn't. I don't think he even realizes he's been hustled.
Well, he says to Bex, doesn't he? Oh, well, the consolation prize isn't so bad, which is what the fuck?
Yeah.
Then also, the other thing is, as Ted is sinking each one and he's giving a speech, he's gradually winning the pub over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows that regardless of what Rupert's saying about, oh, I'm going to do this for the club, I'm going to do that for the club, the people don't like Rupert. They think he's a piece of shit. That's why they're cheering Ted.
He's done minimum effort. He's bought 1 round of drinks for them. I think that's enough to win people round.
Yeah.
This is people's team. This is people's, this is what they live for. And it's one of those great scenes, but it feels very Ted has got superpowers at this point.
It's true.
But I like the fact that they made it really, as I say, whenever he brings up his dad, it's super important.
Something serious is going to go off. Yeah.
It's pivotal to who Ted is, and it always makes sense. When he brings his dad up, when he makes a reference to a story about him and his dad, it always leads to the fact that this is going somewhere important.
Mm-hmm.
But it is
for sure.
Great scene of just someone overcoming a bully.
And, the villain leaves with his villainess, I guess, the unwitting villainess. And he whispers into Rebecca's ear what she should do. And she goes, do I have to, or should I really? And he's like, yep. So she buys a round.
Rebecca goes, that was amazing.
Yes, let's don't forget that. She's so happy.
She's so happy that Rupert has been humiliated. He's tried to win these people over and has failed. And then Ted goes, well, Ted knows what these people want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just more booze.
Yeah. It's the gesture. It's the gesture.
It's great as well that after Rebecca buys the round of drinks, there's that shot of Barry, Jeremy, and Paul all toasting Ted.
Yeah.
Again, it's a little thing, but it signifies that he's winning them over.
Hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Hearts and minds. Well said.
It's the same thing with Trent Krim, where he says, I know Ted's gonna fail. Ted's been put in this position to fail, but I'm not gonna gloat about it. I'm gonna root for him and I'm gonna want him to do well regardless. And it's that he wins over the pub in that like one fell swoop.
Again, it's that thing. I think he already had most of the pub won over anyway because of just Ted's. Yeah, but this really cements that point home.
Yeah,
and Ted didn't have to show people who Rupert was. Rupert showed people. The bad guy will show himself. You can open the door and put him out in public, but he will show his true colors. So he did. Ted was nice, courteous, polite, and Rupert got nastier as it went. So he showed people what kind of person he is.
Oh, yeah. You've hit it on the nail there, Tom. Like, that's it. 100%.
Yeah.
Like when you said manners when I'm holding a dart. Like,
so good.
It's just, it's a great scene.
This character, Ted Lasso Kids, is incredibly smarter than anyone gave him credit for from the first episode. Incredibly smart. I'm telling you. This next scene's throwaway. It's a weird scene out of the blue that just goes back to the pitch where Ted's having the team spell out the words, "Hi, boss."
As he goes out, he said, "Oh, okay. As much as I could watch you do this North Korean dance,
this jaunty North Korean military thing all day, I need a favor." Sam says, "We will die for you, coach." What?
Okay, I see what I did there.
Then he asked him how many of them ever seen Sesame Street. So,
but again, it's that thing of him. I generally think at this point he thinks he's got.
He thinks he's won Rebecca over.
Rebecca, yeah. But he doesn't know.
He doesn't know yet,
and unfortunately, so yeah. They all lay on the ground, and it's this thing of like Higgins was like whistles. Ted panics and goes and makes down like the dot of the I or whatever. It just spells out "Hi, boss" with the team.
She says, "Hi, Ted."
I can't hear you.
Yeah, and she plays into the bit.
Yeah,
she plays into the bit, and we get that silly Rebecca.
I think that's what makes the next bit so sinister.
Yeah.
It's that Rebecca, regardless of the fact that she's warming to Ted, regardless of the fact that he's just like emasculated her ex-husband in front of a room full of people.
He's done more in that pub than she could ever do.
The fact that though he's literally done all that, and she's like gloating about it to Higgins, and then he says about the tickets, and she's still hell bent on destroying the club.
That's like the really weird bit of this. That's like where it feels like a disjoint in Rebecca's story.
It's like tunnel vision.
But like she literally just had him spell out "Hi, boss" outside, and she's like, "Hello!" Like she yells, like, and she's into it. Like she's loving the bit.
Yeah.
And she comes, and then Higgins is like, "Oh, that was fun, but also we haven't sold those tickets." And she's like, "Just release them to the away fans."
Yeah, which is like, I believe that would indicate that not only would they have like lesser support, but a portion of those ticket sales then goes to the other team. So it's taking money off the table as well. But the thing is, which is, as I say, it's sinister in a sense, where in the last episode when she's like the person to comfort Ted, it's her like separating Ted from the club. Like Ted the human being from the club, but she's still got the tunnel vision that she wants to destroy the club.
This is the bit I find a really weird disconnect between Rebecca and this, but this is the bit where it stops making sense for me, for her. She's had all that, and then Higgins goes, "Oh, just fuck off."
Yeah.
That ties back to the scene a few episodes ago where he said, "Can you imagine what happened if I told you to fuck off?"
Yeah.
Higgins snaps, and he's just like, it isn't going to make it any better. Like,
again, though, this, like, him doing that, then she resorts back to being, like she regresses to being angry Rebecca who wants to destroy the club. Yeah. And she's like, "Well, fuck you, Higgins. You were the guy who I thought was my friend, taking me for food when Rupert was bringing women in. I thought you were being, like, being my friend, not like, manipulating me." And Higgins, for the first time, actually just owns up to it and goes, I'm sorry for what I did.
Rupert, he should have said Rupert is a bully. And then knowing what we know from the further on series is that he is a bully. What he does to Nate is exactly what he did to Higgins.
But just like Ted when he apologized to Nate, Ted took the brunt of it. Ted didn't blame the divorce or his mood. He took the brunt of it. Higgins is not blaming anybody. Higgins like, you're right, I did this. I bear this.
He owns it.
He's basically like,
that.
I'm sorry, I did the wrong thing. And then he quits.
And honestly, this whole time we've seen Rebecca, who's mad at Higgins. Rebecca hates his guts. He's what is he? He's dumbassing her phone, or he's shithead in her phone. But this is the first time for me that I saw she's genuinely hurt. She's hurt. It's not anger, just anger. She legit thought they were friends. So like that doesn't let her off the hook, but I kind of see now.
No, yeah, I understand it.
Yeah,
but and the fact that she gets really hurt, and then she does the lash out thing of "you'll come back."
But that's the thing though. It's like with Higgins as well with this scene. Like Rebecca's so hell bent on that one goal that she's had all season that she doesn't care what bridges she burns, who she tramples underfoot to get to that. Like, regardless of the relationship she's built with Ted, and obviously, like, they're getting closer as friends. They've supported each other at this point, and even the whole thing in the pub. And she's like, "Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like, he just completely made a fool out of Rupert." Yeah,
she said. Yeah.
And then as soon as it goes back to club affairs, and like Higgins thinks, "Oh, maybe she's actually focused on it." And again, it goes back to the whole Higgins loves the club more than anything. It's like his family, the club, and he just wants what's best for the club. So as soon as he says, "I can't do this anymore," and quit, and she's then being an arsehole and gloating about it, going, "You'll come back and I'll make your life even worse." And the way this is shot is brilliant in that the door shuts and immediately reopens, and she looks up thinking it's Higgins straight away, like going, "Oh, I've made a terrible mistake." And it's Keeley on the fucking warpath.
You've angered the Keeley. Like,
she's power walking. Yeah.
She's furious, like, because her new best friend.
Well, the thing is as well, she's angry, but she's calm about it.
Yeah, she could have gone in there ranting and raving.
That's where I think Keeley's learned that from Roy, because Roy's a bit more kind of composed with his anger.
It's not even like she's angry about it would defame her.
It's Ted.
She says, "You either tell Ted what you've done, or I'll tell him." She's not bothered about herself at this point. She doesn't want Ted to be defamed.
But at the same time, like, it was literally in that situation, they were both just two innocent parties. Like Ted.
Oh yeah. But you try explaining that to the British press.
Oh yeah, of course, the British press are parasites and awful people.
Absolute scum.
The dregs of society.
It is that thing that she just goes, "I know it was you.
Don't try to pretend it wasn't.
Don't try to pretend it wasn't."
Well, it's the fact as well that obviously, like, they've looked at it, and then she said, "Me and Roy found this," and Roy went and got the information off the cameraman. So
I imagine Roy just shook that cameraman down.
I imagine Roy's held him by his ankles over the Thames.
Yeah. Over an industrial meat grinder that he has access to.
Picked up a
I didn't know. He said, "I didn't know. I swear to God, swear to me." You know, do the Batman stuff.
But yeah, and it is that thing of she just said, "Don't try and deny it because I know it's you. You know it's you."
Yeah.
And like we just end with this shot of Rebecca looking like, shit, it's all.
And, you know, Keeley's not just, to your point, she's very reserved, Joe. I don't think it's just anger. It's disappointment. Yeah. Like, she didn't want this. She didn't know I'm breaking down this woman who has evil intentions. She just thought she was making a friend.
Yeah.
And then she gets her heart ripped out. Like, Rebecca hurts a lot of people in season 1. Like, honestly.
It goes back to Keeley having trust issues at the start of the episode. Like, the one person that, like, throughout the series, other than Ted, really, that she's been able to just outright trust because she thought there's no malice involved, was Rebecca. And then after they've just kind of got to this really good point of the friendship, and she's like seeing the real Rebecca. Then the other Rebecca is kind of like
the old Rebecca.
The old Rebecca's reared their ugly face and just kind of like, as I say, she's like got tunnel vision on that end goal of destroying the club. Like, be damned who she tramples underfoot around her.
Scorched earth. That's what she wants. And remember the little throwaway, the funny bit at the end of episode 7, funny, where Keeley's panicking because she thought she'd been abandoned?
Yeah.
Again, if that maybe wasn't so funny, it plays into trust issues. I thought you guys had left me.
Yeah.
Well, now her friends left her. Like, ugh.
No, but it's not even that. It's the friend she thought she had.
Sure.
Before they became friends, and she could at any point have said, by the way, I did this.
Yeah.
And Keeley would have gone, okay, I understand it. Like, it would have hurt for a bit. But the fact she just swept it under the rug and thought, no one will ever find out about that. That's, I think, what drives Keeley's madness with this.
It goes to the fact as well that everyone Keeley sort of like had a close sort of relationship with in the show so far, other than Ted and Rebecca, have let her down. Jamie let her down. Roy, with the way he was kind of going about them getting together at first, let her down and disappointed her. The only two people who were like constants for her were Ted and Rebecca. And then Rebecca's just obviously revealed her hand unwittingly. And it's because she's got so close to her and she thought they were supporting one another through like bad times. And I think Rebecca did genuinely want to do that, thinking, oh yeah, this Keeley thing's just going to be swept under the rug now. And obviously it's come back to bite her in the arse.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, again, she, in her desperate bid to, get through this, she's been hurt. She wants to hurt. She'll hurt, like you said, whoever gets in her way. It's scorched earth. She'll hurt whoever gets in her way. She'll take you down with her because she, anyone that's ever had the heart broken knows you don't care about anything at that point, especially if you've been made a fool of. You're not thinking about, I'll get past this. You're thinking, this is going to kill me. This feels like death inside. This feels like I'm withering away. This sucks. I don't like people smiling. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to get that vicious, but that's where her mindset is. But, as this all happens, this has got to be the wake-up call for her, right?
Yeah.
Well, we will see.
Oh, segue. I like it.
Two more to go.
2 more to go until the end of season 1. Biggest takeaways from this episode, if you just sum it up, what do you think, Joe?
This sets up the last 2 episodes nicely. All the nice things that you thought were going to happen do not happen. Like, Rebecca's house of cards comes crashing down on her, and like Jay said, she has to take responsibility for her actions. And that is the first series particularly is the moral of the story is that consequences have actions.
Yeah.
For good or worse.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, it's this, as I say, this said earlier, the series is very much about accountability. Like, they drum that home with, obviously, Keeley and Rebecca's chat in, was it episode 3, the one of the gala? And it's, since then, it's that was kind of foreshadowing, obviously, what Rebecca's doing is eventually going to come back and get her. What, like, everyone who's doing something bad, it's going to eventually get you. The only people who aren't really doing anything like wrong in this first series is like Nate, Beard, well, the Diamond Dogs essentially. And even then, Higgins, he had to like kind of like own up to what he'd done, apologize, just own it, and it cost him his job. But
that's it. He owns it.
He owns it.
He's like, he says, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but him being accountable is what like lifted that weight off his shoulders and kind of frees him up to basically like go on a great journey for the rest of the show now. because Higgins is one of the most underrated characters in the entire show.
We can start calling him by his real name,
Leslie.
can't we?
Yeah. He's great. I love him. But yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
This episode, it's just great, isn't it? That's that dart scene with the speech. It's so good, and also it kind of like it links back to the
straight out of a superhero film.
But the speech itself links back to the previous episode.
Oh yeah,
because Rebecca being like trying to ruin the club. Rebecca is judgmental. Fun Rebecca is curious, and that's
and also you can humiliate Rupert in different ways.
Yeah. Humiliate Rupert by the club doing better under you than him.
Yep. And, well, let's see.
Football is life.
Well, there again, I made the comparison between this and Major League, and they decided to get back at the owner for trying to tank the team by winning the whole season. So, yeah, there you go. Similar. Same but different. Yeah, football is life, kids. There you have it. Episode 8 is in the books. Aren't you happy we are? We got 2 more until the end of season 1. Then we all take a big, well-deserved nap because we've earned it. We've earned it. But the idea of a rundown show to get our thoughts, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. What a great idea.
I occasionally have good ideas.
Well, you know what? I mean, you watch this show, so you watch Ted Lasso. That's decision.
What about
decision
this? A cereal that you can shower with.
A cereal you could shower with.
Lassos.
Yeah.
Lassos.
No, it doesn't have to be.
That's great. Lassos. Oh.
You just rub the nutrients into your body.
There's a Tedism on the back of every box. There's a Tedism.
No, it just yells out a random Tedism. We put a little chip in there.
Press a button. Or it's motion activated, even better.
It's like,
you get up for a wee in the middle of the night because we're all men of a certain age, and it's just like, you just get a fun Tedism about urination.
It's like Lucky Charms, but each marshmallow is a different character from the show.
You just save up all the Roy ones. You got a big bowl of swear.
All the Roys are just fuck.
No.
Yeah,
or just the grunts.
I prefer Roy's nose.
It's really good.
To be fair,
yeah. Well, there you go, kids. Number 8's in the books. Last 2 are coming soon. You see the ticker at the bottom. Follow all of our socials at 2 Nations Pod. Be sure to follow Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's Six and Podcast, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Hallmark of Greatness, and Dammit, Vince. Yes, stop it. Shameless plug, kids. That's what you get for staying around this long. Stay tuned. Episode 9 and 10 are on the way, I assure you. And then, of course, the rundown of season 1, and then season
episode
2, and then
9
3.
and 10.
Oh my
spicy.
God. I'm telling you, we're going to be here forever. We'll be grandfathers by the time we're done with this, but it's okay. I'm okay with that.
I'm sterile.
Well, you can adopt. Man, don't end us on a down note. Are you kidding?
I don't look at it as a down note. I look at it as I can spread my seed as far
and
as
you can save
wish.
money as well. Save money or not spend as much money.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't know what to say to that.
I don't know either. For Joe and Jay, I'm Tom. See you next time, kids.